Good morning. You joined me in a very dirty Rivian due to road tripping for the last few months. Rivian just dropped a new update. I got it a bit late, update 0.46, and it's focused on universal hands-free and new autonomy view and navigation view for the gyro display, things like that. What they did mention is a significant audio rework that I didn't even know they were bringing until I sat in here. And it's really good. It's enough to revisit my, I think, first video for bits, the audio review on Gen 2 Premium Audio. I think it's time to revisit that and reevaluate it because I think it's gotten a lot better. So the last time we visited Gen 2 Premium Audio for the R1S here, it was a big pile of problems. Well, from lack of clarity, lack of bass severely, and just all around bad tuning. Some speakers were doing what they should do, some speakers weren't doing anything, and it was just a big problem. If you remember last time, for a long time, the upper drivers were not firing at all. They eventually addressed that. There was too much happening in the door cards. They were trying to do both lows, mids, and highs all at the same time, creating a very muffled experience because instead of using these up here for the mids and highs, it was all down here. And then they're using all this for just mids, so there are no highs. And then, sprinklers are on. And then coming to the back here, again, it's the dirty Rivian. It's been on the road for like 3 months, so please bear with me. The subwoofer was just here so he didn't get fined. He wasn't doing a single thing. So it was just, especially for something you're paying for an upgrade for, it just wasn't, sprinklers are going crazy. It just wasn't delivering on the premium experience, let alone a speaker experience in general. Chevy Cruze sounded better. Now, today I finally got the update. It took a while to get to mine, like a very long time, but glad to have it. And I think it's not perfect, but it's darn close, especially compared to what we had before. Starting with the bass. Now, although it's bass centered, it's actually not necessarily the subwoofer. The subwoofer is a bit louder. But what I've noticed are the door cards. The door card speakers down here and in the back seat, these right here, are doing their job, which is supposed to be lows and some mids. And it does it perfectly now. Bass is coming out clearly out of here for the first time. Not all the big muffled, jumbled, all the other stuff, just bass and a little bit of mids. And then you come up here, this is focusing on mids, and these two are focusing on highs, as it should be, creating a very, very clear experience. And strong bass. For the longest time, where is he? There we go. The Lightning, which I had to banish over there because there isn't enough driveway space, had a better sounding sound system by a long shot, and it has like half the speakers, if not less. And now it's basically parity. Quiet camera. So this brings bass, the back ones bring bass as well. And then for the back seat, it has this right here. This focuses solely on mids and highs, mainly highs, and does a good job. I'd say mainly mids. And which leaves the headliner speakers, which interestingly aren't firing, or if they are, they're about maybe 5% of their actual sound. So it's back to like it was before, where the top speakers weren't doing a thing. The crazy part is it doesn't sound bad, because it's due to a few things. If I close the door here, basically your entire soundscape for the driver are lows here, mids and highs right here, and then it would be highs right here. The problem is for both, this is really far back, but most of the time the speaker here is behind the head, and so you wouldn't be able to hear it anyway. They should have honestly put it right here in the corner here. That's where Tesla likes to put their headliner driver for the front row, and it does really well. This has always been in the back, so even when it was firing, I'd have to kind of lean over a bit to hear it, which isn't really possible when you're driving unless you're, just doing it on purpose. But it's not practical. And typically that would be an issue, but actually it doesn't sound bad because they've tuned the speakers we have here so well. I hope they do turn on so it can be just a little bit more clear. I think that this running with the rest of the tune of everything else would create a phenomenal experience. But right now, even with the upper drivers turned off, it's phenomenal. Bass is coming from the low end like you're supposed to, down here, down there. And they've even, I believe there are 3 speakers in this center speaker here, if I remember right, 3 drivers. And all of them are actually firing correctly. Typically even these are trying to do bass, which is really weird, so it'd be really muffled. All the speakers are basically trying to do all of their other speakers' jobs, causing a very, very muffled experience. And bass used to be more prevalent in the third row because, the subwoofer is right there. Now, bass is most prevalent in the front row due to coming out of those bottom drivers, because the bass actually is lesser the further back you go now. Back here, there's still a decent amount because they still have a full door driver on the bottom, and the mids and highs are coming out of that middle speaker. But you go to the third row, and it's less bass back there than it is up here, despite the subwoofer being right there. And if you're on the right side, it's a little better, yeah. On the left side, I'd feel bad if I were sitting there. And so it's an interesting, I wish they would bring up the subwoofer, but at the same time, something else I noticed, come on, you can do it, there we go. With all of these bass changes, and nothing much here, this is about the same, maybe a bit more power than last time, but sitting back here, it sounds more or less the same. But with all the extra bass that we're finally getting, right? Sounds great and everything, but now it introduced rattles everywhere. The entire doors, because the bass is coming out of the door cards like they're supposed to. The doors are rattling like crazy, which, you win some, you lose some. I'm not mad per se because I haven't had good sound in so long. I'll take rattly doors if it means they get good sound. But I think because the audio was so bad and lacked so much bass, they didn't, do enough tightening or deepening in the door to compensate for heavy bass, like say Tesla does in the newer 3Y, where you have monster bass and 0 rattles. Here, it's rattling here, it's rattling there. You hear rattling in the third row, and there's no bass in the third row. What's going on? You hear rattling in the dashboard, even though it's just focusing on mids. The dashboard itself rattles. And so, it's not something I think they'll be able to fix on existing vehicles, but now that they have a good audio tune, I'm hoping they tweak that deafening so that you can have bass and you can actually hear the song too, not worry about hearing rattling the whole time. But even then, like I said, I'd rather rattling with good sound versus no rattling and Fisher-Price toy sound. I am very happy with this update. And the cool part is, now there's bass in every song. There seemed to be a tuning issue with bass specifically where it would come out in maybe 20% of songs. Certain bass frequencies would show up a lot easier than others. Whereas now, basically every major low frequency is coming out just as clear as the rest. So it's not picky like it used to be. Especially in the front row. The front row is where you hear it the most. It'll probably be coming out of here, but now it's, not only is it good volume, it's also clear. Like I said earlier, these were always bringing out the same sound for all the speakers through the one door card, so even when they were trying to do bass, it couldn't because all the other stuff was coming out. It's been a really bad experience, but now very clear. I'm very happy with Rivian. Good job, Rivian. Good work. It took you guys long enough. I've had this for, we're getting close to the halfway point of my lease, and this is the first time I've actually said it sounds good. So, yeah, I definitely think if you have a Rivian, Gen 2 Rivian with premium audio, and even if you have a non-premium audio Gen 2 Rivian, I'm curious if that one sounds better too. I happen to live in the same city as Rivian Tracker, the famous Rivian guy. So maybe I'll give a test in his RNS with non-premium audio and see how that sounds, but definitely give your sound a try. If you didn't like it before, which I hated it before, give it a try with the new 0.46 update. In my opinion, because I'm not, I don't focus on autonomous driving too much. So that's the biggest part of the update for me is the sound, and they didn't even mention it. So whoever working on the sound for this update at Rivian, if you're seeing this, good work, sir or ma'am. Good work, guys. I am very, very impressed. There's still some room to improve. Subwoofer needs to be louder. There still could be more bass, but again, you have to balance that with rattling. But get those upper headliner drivers, get these things going. Come on, camera. Whoop. Get these things going, and you have a very good, actual premium audio experience. We're so close, guys. So, and now it's time to wash this thing. But thank you for watching. Let me know if you have a Rivian with the same audio setup and the update, and see if it sounds better. A lot of people are saying it's been a night and day change, and I agree. Let me know what you guys think.